Welcome to the HerStory Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another intriguing woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Well, welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you today. My name is Kelly Roach, and my story, my journey of becoming unstoppable started one day many years ago when I was on the free lunch line. And I had been on the free lunch line for quite a while, and it was our little secret. And the little lunch ladies were so sweet and they were so kind. And this was back in the day where you would walk up to the lunch line with a sealed envelope with some coins in it or maybe a few dollars. And every day I would turn in my envelope, but there would be nothing inside. Well, one day there was a new volunteer that was collecting the envelopes. And she didn't know that I was on the free lunch line. And so as she did with everyone before me and everyone after me, when I got to her station, she ripped open my envelope to reveal that there was nothing inside. And in that moment, frozen in horror, so exposed, I felt completely naked in the lunch line. I don't remember what happened after that. I just remember that my embarrassment created just a black cloud. I froze. I didn't know what to say or what to do. I was so embarrassed and mortified in that moment that my secret had been exposed, that I was in fact on the free lunch line. And I was just in a place where I had to make a decision. And I had to make a decision that I was going to live in fear of it being revealed that my family couldn't afford the lunch program, or, disappointment in my parents that they couldn't afford it, or frustration at our situation. But instead, this became the catalyst and the turning point for my life. And from that point forward, I took every job I could think of. From the moment I was old enough to start working, I did everything I could with every free moment that I had to begin to earn money. And I carried this idea from that point in my life forward that I was going to choose my life story. I was going to design my destiny, and I was going to create a very different path forward for my future than the one that was handed to me. And so fast forward many years, I joined a Fortune 500 company when I graduated from college, and I had chosen the university that I was going to be in the least amount of debt upon graduation, with loans and state funding and all the things that got me in the door to begin with. And I got my foot in the door in an entry-level staffing and recruiting company. And so for 10 years, I was basically the first one in and the last one out every single day. And over that time, I was able to get promoted 7 times in my first 8 years in that company. And I built a team starting with myself and just one employee from the ground up, and ultimately ended up managing 17 locations, building a team of 100 people up and down the East Coast in the United States, from New York all the way down to the Carolinas. And I learned everything there was to learn about building a business, about managing a team, recruiting, hiring, training people, budgets, P&Ls, profit, loss, everything you can think of. And, when I got to the top of that organization and there was still further I could go, I looked around and I said, is this the life that I want to live? Am I using my talent for the greatest potential, the greatest impact I can possibly make? Am I being of the highest service? And my answer was no. And so I decided that I was going to dedicate my life to helping small businesses learn how to sell, learn how to grow, because I knew that that statistic still stands that we have today, that 85% plus of small businesses go out of business. Most small business owners take home less than an entry-level employee in salaries each year. So starting in 2012, I started my own coaching consulting company to take everything I had learned from those billion-dollar corporate strategies I had been living day in and day out for so many years and start my own coaching and consulting company. That little coaching and consulting company was recently honored and featured on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies in the United States of America 2 years in a row. We've been able to help thousands of people in over 30 countries around the world to build, grow, and scale successful businesses. And I've had the honor of being featured on major news media, magazines, television, awards, everything you can think of, to share my story. And so now today I'm a podcaster. I have one of the top 1% podcasts in the world, best-selling author. I have a portfolio of 6 companies, and yet still my focus, my mission, my goal, my passion is helping people make their dreams come true. And the first book that I ever wrote was called Unstoppable: 9 Principles for Unlimited Success in Business and in Life. And in that book, I talk about the number one mindset shift that I had to go through, 9 of them to be exact, but I give you the number one, which is that you have to decide that you are going to design your own destiny. And you have to realize that the word unstoppable is a decision. It's a decision that you believe so deeply in a bigger and better, more compelling future for yourself that no matter what setback, obstacle, hardship, loss comes your way, that you are going to fight for your goals. You're going to fight for your dreams, and you are going to keep moving forward no matter what. And so I'm on a mission to help inspire people around the globe to become unstoppable in their own lives, no matter what age, no matter what they've been through, no matter what their circumstances are, to realize that you can both do good and make money, and you can make your dreams come true if you develop the right mindset to make it happen. And that's what the principle of the Unstoppable book was all about. So it's been an incredible journey over the last 10 plus years of helping people build wildly successful businesses. And I've gotten a front row seat to see people do things like pay off their parents' home in cash and take sabbaticals and travel the world and get out of debt and pay for their kids' college tuition and be able to put their families first, be able to do incredible philanthropy projects around the world, be able to build or buy their dream homes, and be able to do things like putting their faith in their families first. So it's been an exciting, wild and crazy adventure with lots of high highs and lots of low lows. But I think the biggest thing that I would say to everyone is never accept the circumstances that you're handed. Always keep your eye on the future, and always keep in your heart that God gave you a dream because you were intended to achieve it. And no matter what age or stage you are in life, no matter what your circumstances are, just start from where you are with what you've got, put one foot in front of the other, and just keep working on developing an unstoppable mindset so that whatever comes your way, you are not stopped. You are not able to be held back or redirected, or, nothing can stand in your way of achieving those goals, because you know that there's something greater on the other side of your growth. So I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited for a great conversation, and thank you so much for having me.
Wow. Kelly, just listening to your story is like music to my ears. You and I share a very similar background, having grown up in Zimbabwe, in Africa, not very wealthy family, parents who were struggling to, put their kids through private school. I know that feeling and that experience of being in a place where you don't have enough. Now, you transitioned from corporate leadership to becoming an entrepreneur. What was the tipping point for you? What was it that made you, or that inspired you to transition?
That's a great question. And I'll be honest, I never had a dream to be an entrepreneur. I wasn't one of those people that said, I want to be my own boss. I want to start a company. But the reason that I became an entrepreneur was that as I began to have success, and I had a lot of success in my corporate career, and I had achieved a lot, and I was starting to make a lot of money, I realized that there's a hierarchy of needs. And at the bottom, you have to pay for food and shelter, and you meet your basic needs, and you're getting comfortable living life, right? But once those needs were met for me, I realized that my life was about so much more than just making a corporation millions of dollars or making myself more money. I could have stayed right where I was and kept growing and made more money and traveled the world and done that job. But for me, I realized that God has given each of us a very unique blueprint where each of us are 1 in a billion, more than 1 in a billion chance that any one of us are even here. And so I had this growing sensation in my heart and in my soul that I was made for more, that I was meant to be actually out in the world helping people, out sharing the things that I had learned, out touching and reaching and serving people, not just going through the motions, of more, but instead really looking at how I could be of service. And that's really how it started for me, was really realizing that God was putting a calling on my heart to do something that was going to impact, do something that was going to be of service. And that's why I'm so excited to get to help small business owners, because they don't many times have the education, the understanding of business, the fundamental experience that I was very blessed and very lucky to have in my corporate experience. And, many times business owners they're the artisans, they're the creators, they're the visionaries, they're the people that they have this beautiful skill or craft that they're so amazing at, but they don't have the business acumen to be able to be successful making a living doing that. And I want to bring that information and education to the world so that people can do what they love and have a means to take care of their family and to afford to live a great life doing that work.
Yeah, I read a book once that said that your wealth lies in the things that you are passionate about. So when you wake up in the morning and you go to work and you're doing something you love, it's not work anymore. You're just having fun and making money while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Now, the live launch model is a game changer in online marketing.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through its origin and how it differs from traditional models or methods?
Absolutely. Well, the live launch came out of me recognizing that in order to be able to make a real difference in the world, I had to figure out a model for being able to reach more people simultaneously and be able to sell one-to-many versus one-to-one. A lot of small businesses get stuck in this model of selling one-to-one. And unfortunately, by the time you get one new client, another client is done or another client is complete with their project. And so you can never actually get the traction to grow. So I started studying all the traditional models. I took the courses. I signed up for the coaching programs. I studied all the things that were out there, and they were very complex. They were very expensive, and they were really designed for people that already had a very broad reach with a lot of authority and credibility in the market. And for me at the time, I was a new small business owner. I was just building my online brand. I wasn't a well-known celebrity. I didn't have a ton of money. I was bootstrapping, building my business. And so what I realized is that there needed to be a complete revamp of this model in a way that what I call everyday entrepreneurs can have success. And so I never designed the live launch thinking, oh, I'm going to create a new launch model that I'm going to teach people. I had no idea. That was not my plan. All I was doing was trying to figure out, I need a model that can actually work for someone like me. Well, all of a sudden, when I designed the live launch model, which is really about stripping away all the complexity, all the extra tech, all the extra expenses, all of these things that distract us from really being present and actually being of true service. And what happened for me was very quickly, it went from 10,000, 100,000, 200,000, and it kept growing and growing and growing so quickly. And that's when I was like, well, if my job is to advocate for small business owners and my job is to give them the fastest, simplest, most efficient way to grow, and this is how I'm growing and this is how I'm seeing success, I need to be sharing with them the thing that's working best for me, right? So I started teaching it, and it literally became a phenomenon, right? Like the live launch is now a phrase that if you speak to people in the online marketing world, everyone says, oh yeah, I live launch, just like Ziploc, right? Oh yeah, I live launch. They don't realize, oh, it came from Kelly Roach, right? And I did. I taught 100,000 plus people the method. They went out and they keep teaching it and teaching it and teaching it. But the beautiful thing about live launch is that anyone can do it because it is leveraging this amazing supercomputer that we have at our fingertips that, you can go live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for free, right? If you have access to the internet, and it allows you to strip away all of those complexities and all of those things that really are a barrier in communication between you and the people that you want to serve, and instead focus on really adding value, being of service, teaching what you know, and then inviting people to take action.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Now, how did your corporate experience shape the unique methods that you teach entrepreneurs today?
It really shaped everything for me because, a lot of what I see and a lot of what I saw when I came into the online space was that most people in the online space never build a business in the offline space. So they're doing a lot of these internet marketing strategies, but they don't have the foundation of building a business. So everything from building a winning team to building a successful database to having KPIs and metrics for what we do, running the business based on systems, managing the finances based on a P&L, right? All of these things are things that I learned in a corporate setting, which are the foundations on which a sustainable and sellable business are built and run. Right? So what's really fun for me is that I get to operate in the online space. So I get to use all the fun things that we have available with social media and live streaming and all of that. But I marry that with the foundational principles of sustainable success that come from the offline world that people really aren't learning in the online space, which is fascinating to me. One little thing is, for example, I teach my customers to maintain relationships with all of their past customers and every month to follow up with their past customers. That sounds like such a little silly thing, right?
Yeah.
But that equates to tens of millions of dollars of extra income for people. That is not a principle that is taught in online marketing. Online marketing is strictly focused on new customer acquisition.
And it's easier to sell to people you've sold to before, right?
Yes. So that's just one example of just a little basic fundamental that in the corporate world, that's an obvious basic thing that everyone does. That's a part of your week every single week. If you go survey 1,000 people in the online space, you'll probably find that maybe 5 of them follow up with their past customers. So this is what I'm trying to do, is bring these very simple principles that are commonly known everyday fundamentals in the offline world. I'm trying to bring them into the online world. But what's so beautiful and powerful is that the offline world isn't taking advantage of social media. They're not taking advantage of live streaming. They're not using things like StreamYard, like how we're connecting today, right? Yeah. So there's benefits and assets in both. And I don't feel that anyone's really done a good job of bringing them together. And that's what I'm really trying to do.
Now, you said something a little earlier. You said people building businesses that are sellable. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we go into business without an exit strategy.
Yeah.
A lot of women especially don't really plan ahead that they could potentially build a business that will sell. And it's having those systems in place, doing things so that the business can run without you. A lot of times we are working in our business and not on our business. Let's talk a little bit about that and how you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful one. Yes. Thank you, Gertrude. I totally agree. So, what is important for everyone to remember is that a business only has 3 final destinations. You can shut it down and get absolutely nothing for your years of blood, sweat, and tears that you put your whole life into. So that's option 1. Option 2 is you can pass it along. And this is what I always say. If you do a great job role modeling entrepreneurship for your family, for your children, whatever the case, there is a very low likelihood that they're going to want to take your business. They're probably going to want to go start their own. right? Like I know this for my daughter already. I already see it. She's so entrepreneurial. She's 10 years old. She's learning business. She's learning investing. She's learning all these things.
Yeah.
She's not going to be like, oh, mom, let me just come work in your business.
No.
She's going to go start her own, right? So passing it on is a very rare instance where you have someone that is capable and desires to run the business that actually wants to stay and run your business instead of building their own. And then that only leaves one destination, which is selling it, which means that you get the reward at the end of the rainbow. That is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow of building a business, which is taking all those years of blood, sweat, and tears, hard work, energy, effort, and being able to cash in on that when you're ready to transition into a different phase of your life. I don't say retire because I think people like us, we're not going to retire.
No.
We're not retiring, but it will allow you to transition into a different phase of life. Maybe you want to focus on, like you are, a global movement you are building here. That's unbelievable. You're so inspiring. Maybe you want to do philanthropy. Maybe you want to start a nonprofit.
Yes.
Maybe you want to start a different business. It gives you the funding to not have to work for income anymore, right? And so to your point though, most women, especially, they don't start the business with an exit plan. No. And they think, oh, I love my business. I'm not thinking about selling it. I don't need an exit plan. It's not about whether or not you love the business. The business is going to exit. The only question is are you going to make money for the business exit or not? Yes. And that's the thing I think people have to understand.
Oh, I love it. Now, how do you implement the Care More philosophy in your business? And why do you think it's been so effective?
Oh, that has been our signature. Absolutely. And I think that anyone that understands this, especially in the market of today, is just absolutely going to soar and thrive. And that is really understanding that having a human forward approach to the way that you service your customers, the way that you build relationships, the way that you build your brand is so essential and so key. And especially now with the rise of AI, everyone is rushing to try and remove themselves from customer relationships, remove themselves from interacting with their market. And I just think that's a huge mistake. People want to buy from brands where they have a relationship. People want to spend time with founders and their teams where they really care deeply about the mission of the work that they're doing, not people that want to be checked out and want to use an automated tool to replace themselves. And I'm all for systems. And we have systems and I have a whole operations team. And, I think automation is great, but the Care More model is really a philosophy of how you do business. And it's about putting people first. And it's about striving to over deliver on your promise. And it's about thinking about every customer as a customer for life, a relationship for life in the way that you manage every interaction with them. And I think if you have that approach to doing business, one, you're going to have a very healthy, happy, and profitable business. And two, you're going to have a really fulfilling experience, because I know that everyone feels so excited about wanting to remove themselves and automate things and all of that. But I do believe as humans that the joy is in contribution, and contribution comes from our investment and commitment to what we're doing.
Wow. Now, what do you see as the biggest barrier for women leaders today, and how can they overcome them?
Well, I think one thing that's really important for women leaders is making sure that if you are going to be, let's just say, a primary breadwinner in your family or in your home, that you have help. And I think so many women still feel bad asking for help, or feel guilty hiring help, or they're still doing all the things in the home and then also trying to do all the things, in a non-traditional role. So, I think that there's no right or wrong way to do this. I think everyone has to design their home life and their family in a way that works for them. But I think the most important thing is women need to not feel guilty asking for help, not feel guilty hiring help. And they need to really optimize, especially if they are going to be both managing a family and managing a career. They need to optimize their time to work on what I call blue chip activities, right? And the best way I can give the example of a blue chip activity is you sitting down and playing a game of Uno with your child. That's a blue chip activity. That's a quality bonding moment that creates a memory and experience. You mopping the floor at 11 o'clock at night because you feel guilty hiring someone to help you, not a blue chip, not a blue chip activity. And now what does that do? It makes you exhausted the next day. Now you're not great with your children. You're not great with your spouse. You're not great in your job. And so I think it's just discerning what is a blue chip activity and what is not, and prioritizing those things that are.
What strategies do you use to help your clients achieve sustainable growth without losing sight of their core values?
Yeah. Well, I think
with integrity.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is the key thing, right? Is knowing what your core values are. And core values in a lot of corporations are a list of things that they put on a plaque or something that they have on a PowerPoint that they look at once a year. That doesn't work for us entrepreneurs, right? No. Our core values have to be who we are and how we live in our businesses every single day. Mm-hmm. And if you strive to be the embodiment of your core values every day, and you say, this isn't something that hangs on a wall, this is who we are, this is how we make every decision, then you can sell and market and grow your business with integrity because you're holding firm in those values that you said matter so much to you. So I would just say for everyone, not having core values as a separate thing that you manage to or you aspire to, but instead core values is the who you're being as you're doing whatever you're doing. Yeah. And if you're living your core values every single day, then of course you're going to sell and market with integrity because you're holding firm in that foundation of this is who we want to be in the world. This is how we make every decision. And this is how we show up and interact with the world.
Now, you've helped clients achieve 6 to 8 figure success. What's one story that stands out to you that was particularly rewarding and why?
We had a client last year, actually, that came in to work with us that about midway through the year working with us had a cancer diagnosis. And unfortunately, she had to move into treatment very quickly, full on chemo, everything. And, had to take a lot of time away from the business, had to go through treatment, lost all of her hair, the full blown everything. And the way that we work with clients is we help them to look at their business from the standpoint of building it through systems and people so that they are not the business, they are building the business. Mm-hmm. And so with Betty, what we were able to do was during that time when she was going through treatments, we were able to keep working with her team. And she's still with us today. And she got through treatment and she's doing amazing. And that quarter, when she was going through that treatment and she had to take a step back from the business, she ended up actually having her best year in business this year. And so that's the kind of thing that, I mean, for us, like one, it was her ability to keep living her dream and her ability to get through those treatments and to feel that she had a genuine and true support system through one of the hardest seasons of her life, but also something to look forward to coming back to. A lot of businesses, a lot of small businesses, the business owner, if they have to step back for a month, 2 months, 3 months, there's no business when they get back.
No.
And, for Betty, we were able to not only keep working on the business with her team, keep growing the business, but they ended up having her best year in business. And so for me, being able to support people through major life changes. I mean, we've had people that, unfortunately, I was just speaking with a client today, her spouse passed away completely unexpectedly over the summer. And we did the same thing. For 6 weeks, she was completely gone. She needed to step back 100% and unplug from the business. We kept working with her team. Now, the only reason any of this was possible was that from day one, we had these people start building their teams, building their systems, building their processes so that it's not all on them. And that's what I mean when you asked me earlier, and I said it's about women getting help, because when you build a support system around you, when life happens, which it does, unexpected divorce, unexpected you become a widow, unexpected there's a health situation that comes up, these things are part of life. But when you build a support system around you, whether it's mentorship, a winning team, help at home, whatever it is, you can get through those things, and not only just get through those things, but you can come out an even better and more successful version of yourself. So for me, that is super rewarding to be able to support people through those very challenging situations and get to see them come out the other side successfully.
Well, Kelly, my last two questions are a bit of a thought experiment. In the first one, I am going to teleport you into the past.
Oh.
We are going to go and meet the younger you, that young woman who had a desire to go into business, to make a difference, to be a go-giver, not a go-getter.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case there's a young entrepreneur who's listening to this podcast right now, if you could go back and give yourself 3 nuggets of wisdom, based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those 3 nuggets of wisdom be?
Oh, that's so good. Well, my first nugget of wisdom would be that God's got your back and that his plan is always greater than our plan. So trust and build your faith. That would be 1. 2 would be have patience, be present. You don't have to speed to the finish line. There is no finish line. Just enjoy the journey, keep growing and keep going, and know that ultimately hard work always pays off and you can trust the process. And the third would be just have fun along the way. Have fun along the way and just know that everything's going to be okay. Have fun along the way and know that everything's going to be okay. Those are the 3 things.
I absolutely love it. Last question. I'm teleporting you into the future this time.
Oh.
You're going to go and have a conversation with a 90-year-old you. She's sitting in her rocking chair, surrounded by her children, her grandchildren, her dogs, her cats, her partner, whoever's with you at the end. If I could teleport you into the future to have a conversation with this wise woman who's led you up until this point, what will you say to her when you finally meet her? And I love asking women this question because a lot of women don't realize the wise woman is already in them.
Yeah.
A lot of women look outside of themselves for all the answers, for all the solutions. We forget to go inside. What would you
That's
say
so
to
good.
you when you finally catch up and meet her?
I think I would say, I think I would just ask her what she wants me to know, what she wants me to see about myself that that maybe I'm missing or maybe that I'm overlooking, right? I think it's so hard, sometimes in your journey, you're just going and you're working and you're praying and you're, trying to put one foot in front of the other. And I would just ask, what do you want me to know about what I already am or where I already am or, what I just need to be present to right now,
I absolutely love it. I've started a little practice whenever I go into my meditation and prayers every evening. If there is something I'm focusing on, I'm struggling with, I play with the energy of who I am becoming.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we are born with all the knowledge, all the skills to achieve our dreams. We are just hardwired. It's already in us. And so sometimes I go to bed with a simple question like, what is the next step?
Yeah.
And I will be in the shower the next morning and those light bulb moments come and the solution is right there. Or I talk to somebody about it the next day and it's like a jigsaw puzzle. By the end of the day, I've talked to so many people, it all just kind of falls into place.
I love that.
So Kelly, thank you so much for coming online and inspiring our community with your incredible story today.
Oh, thank you for the work that you're doing around the world. It's amazing. And I'm so inspired by you.
Thank you, Kelly. These are the stories that we want to see because until other women see the example of the possibility, it feels like it's not achievable.
Yeah.
So thank you for who you are being in the world right now. Thank you for your work in inspiring and uplifting other women along the way.
Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful to have met you today.
You too. Thank you so much.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We are a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share our stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, to empower you with knowledge, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So now you've heard of Kelly. She's got some amazing programs. Please reach out, learn from those who've done it before. They say that success leaves clues. Successful people will always leave a trail for you to follow so that you don't have to do it the hard way. So I've got Kelly's website at the bottom of the screen. Ladies, gentlemen, anybody who's listening to this podcast, reach out, work smart, not hard. I'll be back again tomorrow with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and bye for now. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep